Welcome to the Eagle Eggs Podcast. I'm your host, Henry Conti, the Communications Coordinator here at Bellbrook-Sugarcreek Schools. This week on the podcast, we have Jason Tincher, the girls' basketball coach, and we look at the season's expectations, who he has back, what are the big games, and a whole bunch more, including the flyby. Make sure to stick around to the end. There's a little bit extra there that you won't want to miss. Jason, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate your time. Girls basketball season, we're really excited about that this year, I think. You got a lot of returners. We're going to get into that in a moment. But tell me and tell the people who might not know, how did you come to Bellbrook?
Well, actually, I'm from Bellbrook, so I went to school here K through 12. My parents resided there off of Regent Park, Vimco. I grew up there and played basketball at the Vimco Park and did all that and graduated in 1990. And 6 houses down the road was my future wife-to-be, Stacy Bender, who ended up going to Wilmington College with me after she went to Cumberland College for a couple years, and then got married. As soon as we graduated, we were in Greenfield, Ohio, and we really liked it out there. Teaching our first 5 years out there was a super experience for us and got us going. And then just so happens both our parents were here and we were starting to have children. We had Brady in Greenfield, and he just got married, by the way. My son.
Wow.
So he just got married. So we moved back here because of mostly family.
Yeah.
You know, our family was here. It just made sense. We were starting to have kids, and we wanted our parents to be near our children. And it just so happened that 2 phys ed jobs opened up in the same year.
Yeah.
One of them was Iris Black, who I had as a teacher at Bellbrook as one of my phys ed teachers, and I ended up taking her position when she retired.
Yeah.
So Bellbrook's always been special to us. We've really loved living here and being here, and to coach here and teach here. It's actually, I think, for me and Stacy as well, is you want to give back to the community that you're from. And like when I coach basketball, I played 3 sports at Bellbrook, so putting Bellbrook on your chest and wearing the uniform, it's kind of special as the coach being from that town. And so you're trying to give them an experience that's a positive one, and one that they can remember when they get old like me.
Yeah. Nothing quite like the call of home.
Yeah.
Coming back and being a part of it.
Yeah, and our parents were, my dad's still, still alive at 89 years old, and he gets to come to all my games. That's amazing. Sits behind the bench, and that's special.
Yeah, absolutely. So what year did you start coaching the varsity girls here?
2004, 2005.
Okay.
So this is actually year 20.
Wow.
As the girls' head coach, so that's kind of cool. And I was coaching the boys. When I first came back, I was an assistant, boys JV and varsity assistant, and then the girls' job opened up. So I applied and said, if I want my own program, I need to go and see what I can do with that. And didn't know it was going to be like this, just once I got in, that's all I wanted to do.
On to this season, do you guys, I know a lot of times there's kind of a theme that goes along with your season. Is there a theme for the girls this year?
We actually haven't met to go over that yet, but we do. We normally have a theme. And actually the last 2 years it's been Earn It. Every team has something that comes up, and, post-COVID it was the different time. And, we had no fans in the stands or sitting. The benches weren't the benches, and it was just a weird, COVID years were just wild when you think back about it. And then coming out of that, the team that we had, because we had the same starters for 2 straight years, we had a really good, solid unit, but it was not getting complacent with that, never taking anything for granted, and don't get cozy or comfortable. You're obviously a starter, you've been a starter, but now it was continue to earn it.
Yeah.
And so it actually was good. We put on the shirts and everything, and the girls were using it. It was in the locker room wherever they went. So now that group's graduated, now I'm trying to get, maybe move on to a different theme, because there's a lot of new faces. We do stuff like Why Not Us? We do something, why not? And we're one of the smallest Division I schools in the state, especially in Southwest Ohio.
Right.
With the big Division I schools that are in Southwest, but something probably will go along with that.
Yeah.
Kind of underdog theme, but I mean, we have 324 girls in high school, and Mason, who's on our schedule, has over 1,300.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild that we're in the same division as some of these schools we're playing because they're triple our size. But we normally do pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
Why do you think that is? I mean, certainly I can walk into that middle school and see some banners hanging up to tell me why I think that is. These girls on this team have some undefeated seasons already behind them.
Basketball at Bellbrook for, during my time here, it's truly a program. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there were some days early on where we were working, trying to get kids, starting youth camps and all that. Now we have 100 kids that come to youth camp.
It felt like more.
It feels like more. It does.
That was a full gym.
That's full gym
this summer.
And I love that because that's what it's all about. And you start to, these kids come, now they're, a lot of them have gone and passed on, married and have kids and everything else, and they came to this same youth camp I've had, and that's special. But I think the community's all in, the kids are in, the school is in. It's an all-in buy-in, and the girls are supported very well. And I think with success comes tradition, and I think that builds like they don't want to lose anything. Mm-hmm. They just want to add it, like, not on my watch. We're not going to have a losing, we haven't had a losing season since 1989.
Yeah.
So the girls talk about that, like, no, because this year our schedule is probably one of the toughest I've ever seen. I mean, it's tough. So it's like, we can still be good, but we're going to have to earn every win because there's not too many that I look on the schedule like, no, that's a cupcake. We didn't schedule many wins as far as what the other team's going to give us.
Right.
We gotta go out and beat some teams.
So talk about that a little bit. You mentioned the schedule. Obviously, every SWBL game. I'm going to give you your talking points for you. Yeah. Every SWBL game is important, and we know that. And you got to win the league. Uh-huh. But what are, as you look at your schedule, and you go, well, these are the big games. These are the games we have circled that we're not looking past anybody.
Right.
But this is the one we know. You mentioned one already with Mason. That we know that this is going to be a game that we got to be all in. Or
we got to be all in, or there's not a chance. And I think it's just it establishes you as a team, like you're pretty good if you can beat these teams. And that's Mount Notre Dame's on the schedule. They're proven winner, state champions. Usually have unbelievable talent, so we're traveling there. Mason is coming here. We played them last year, and it was an 8-point game with like 3 minutes to go, and then it got out of hand. But it was a good game for us. Let us know where we're at, where we want to be. I look at all the GWalk schools that we play. Springborough's on the schedule still, and they're one of the better programs in Miami Valley. And Beaver Creek, Wayne. It's just tough games to play. We've won the league 3 straight years in a row. So, like you said, that's obviously a goal, is to get that 4th one in a row, which hasn't been done in a while. It's been done, but not in a while. And then Tri-Village is on the schedule. It's a small school, but basketball tradition. They've been really good. We played them in the Flying to the Hoop a couple years ago. Winning tradition. So that's where we're at this year. I think those are the toughest games.
It feels like if you didn't, those GWalk teams specifically, if you don't schedule teams like that and your Mount Notre Dames and your Masons, okay, you can play all these small schools and you'll get some competition here and there. But you're going to end up 22-0. Yeah. And you're going to go into the tournament thinking you got a chance. Yeah. But can you talk about that a little bit and like what is the reality, I guess, at that point? That you might be 22-0 against teams that are smaller than you, don't have the tradition you have.
Right. I think that's just where our program needs to go. Since we've been Division I these past 6 years or so, it's like iron sharpens iron. So if we're obviously been solid and consistent as far as winning and doing well in the tournament. Now we have to up our game. Mm-hmm. We have to schedule these teams. That's who we're playing in the tournament. And if we're not used to playing that, you're right. I mean, we may have an unbelievable record and go in there and still not be ready to play the teams that we're going to have to face. So I forgot to mention Waynesville's in there. I love that game because it's a crosstown game. Their coach I've known for years, and he's won over 600 games over there at Waynesville. Great guy. And their team's going to be really, really good because they're mostly back from last year, and that was a good game.
Those games that Coach Tincher mentioned: at Mount Notre Dame on December 16th, home against Mason on December 23rd, at Wayne on January 6th, at Beaver Creek on January 15th, at Waynesville on January 22nd, at Springboro on January 29th, and at Tri-Village on February 10th. Mark your calendars. So we mentioned the roster. You had a bunch of kids graduate, but you have a bunch back that are pretty notable.
Yeah.
Tell me about who returns this season and who you're expecting to make an impact on this roster.
Well, first and foremost, it's going to be around a lot of Taylor Scoey. Mm-hmm. She's a University of Tennessee Martin recruit. She's going to be going there next year to play basketball. She's a two-time league player of the year, and no one's ever won at three. As far as I know, no one's ever won 3 player of the year awards. So she's got a possibility of earning that this year. She led the league in scoring. She plays tremendous defense. Her motor is really high. She's really, really solid play for us. So she sets the tone, and I've always said, if your best players are your hardest workers, usually you're going to be all right, and she is. She's our best player and our hardest worker. She gives a lot to the game, smart player. And then Elena Meyer's back. She's one of the leading three-point shooters in the state. I think 2 years ago, she was 49%, which led the state at 3. So she was making half her threes. Mm-hmm. And then last year kind of fell off a little bit, but I say fell off. She was still in the 40s.
Right, yeah.
She was like 41%.
Hard to meet that again.
So when she shoots it, sometimes when girls shoot it, players shoot it, coaches sometimes don't know if it's going in or not. I always think it's going in when she shoots it. I can't wait for her to shoot it because I always think it's going in.
Yeah.
Another great defender. And then those are our 2 starters that are back. So we lost three starters, including our point guard, who was the all-time leading assist girl for Bellbrook, and Kelly Griffin. So that'll be key because that's a new player. It's going to be a new Zoe Howard or an Eva Kesters, who are solid kids and good athletes, but they just that experience to be a varsity point guard. So that'll be key. Izzy Painter's coming back, and Jordan France is coming back. They were off the bench last year, but now they'll be more starter roles. And then 2 excellent sophomores, along with Zoe's a sophomore. Zoe Howard is Emmy Sears and Ainsley Gregory. Mm-hmm. Long, lanky, can run, shoot the ball pretty well. So if they can just fill in those roles that we've had the last couple years, we'll be all right. Yeah. They just got to get that experience with a tough schedule. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Great kids too.
Yeah. What are your expectations for this team going into the 23-24 basketball season?
There's some unknowns there, and I kind of like it in a way because, like I said, we had the same starting 5 for 2 years in a row. So there was my job was a little easier, but what I like with this group is they don't know they don't know yet. I don't know who, we don't necessarily know our starting 5 yet. Mm-hmm. And because we're just putting everything on tape and we're scrimmaging and, I think if you go with the basics, the non-negotiables, it's to win the league. Mm-hmm. So win the league. We've had a goal to win 20 games. We've done that 3 straight years in a row, won 20 straight, or at least 20 games in a season, which is very hard to do. So that one, maybe I don't necessarily think that might be a goal this year with all the newcomers and stuff and the schedule that we have. So, right now, the expectation level is just kind of like our school thing. We can't stay the same. Mm-hmm. We're pretty good right now, and we're learning who we are. But my goal is by the end of the season, I look back at right now and go, we're not even the same team.
Yeah.
We're way better than we were when we started.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a day-by-day process, just trust the process, get in there and bust our butts and work our tails off. And then they hardly ever hear us talk about winning.
Yeah.
We talk about doing winning things. I don't care about the wins or losses. Those will come. Those will come, and we'll deserve them, whatever it is. But if we do winning things, winning happens. So it's just a byproduct of our effort and our attention to detail. And we just do the little things, and big things will happen kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So.
Little things, winning things, diving on the floor for loose balls, making the extra pass.
Yeah, do those winning things. And, out-rebound the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Make your free throws. Take care of the basketball. Don't turn it over. Defend like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll come on top more than not.
Absolutely.
And that's been my experience. When we don't, we've come out on the shorter end is because, it's like, well, they did these things better than we did.
Yeah.
And so if we don't get better at them, this is going to happen again.
So we're going to get into the flyby. Let's start out with, what is your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food. There's a lot. Actually, it'd be Mexican food time.
Okay.
Mexican and Italian food. I like.
Anything go-to dish at your favorite restaurant?
If I was going like Mexican food, I kind of like tacos, burritos type things. Yeah, Italian, it's like spaghetti, lasagna. Now I'm getting hungry.
Well, it is coming up on this. Although we're at the middle school, so lunch is past probably.
Right.
What is your favorite drink?
I'm not a pop guy anymore. I like sweet tea and lemonade.
All right.
Yeah. Like that.
Favorite movie or show?
My movie go-to is Rocky 2. I always liked Rocky 2.
Did you see the Sly documentary?
I have not yet,
On
but I heard
Netflix?
about it.
What is your go-to emoji? The emoji you use on your phone when you're
Smiley face.
smiley face?
Yeah.
All right.
Thumbs up, too. I use a
Thumbs
lot
up.
of thumbs up and smiley.
What is the maybe it's what you use with your team, what that they've heard over and over, but what's your go-to quote for you, for your team, for students? Sure, give me a couple.
Yeah, I like that one, just do winning things.
Yeah.
We use that a lot, Some old ones I used to use, play for the name on the front of the jersey, not the one on the back, stuff like that. Play for your team, play for your community, play for your school. Anything I can come up with that's more like we, not me stuff, just try to be selfless, try to be servant leaders, so quotes that deal with that, I guess. We try like crazy to do that. I think we're always trying to fight the individual mindset in young people. We all have that mindset, but we're always preaching and finding quotes that deal with sacrifice and selflessness and for the good of the group and do what's right for the team. Yeah. But I love the individuality of coaching team sports. So that's one we've used. Like, we're not good without the individual. You some things I've said to them is it's okay to use your individual abilities and just constantly use your skills for the betterment of the group. It's like just always use your individuality for the good of the team.
Yeah.
And so
If you're a scorer, you need to score.
yeah, if you're a scorer, you need to score.
Yeah.
But we preach that a lot.
Yeah.
And then, I always tell them too, like, my door's always open. I care about every single one of them, but I have to make decisions on what's best for the group, and I need you to do the same thing. And so we talk about that at the beginning of the year. It's like, you're going to come to me with a problem for you, I understand, but when we sit down and I'm trying to help you through your thing, everything's going to be for the good of the group. And hopefully you're making that decision too once we're done and you leave. It's like constantly try, and I think that's what makes us best. Another one is, I always say the Bellbrook girls basketball program is about the past, the present, and the future. And if we always bring all of them together, then we continue to have this thing a program, you know. So my girls will go help with youth camp, you know, go down there and just get on their level, high five them, tell them, you know, how good they're doing, and pump them up. And then we try to bring back our alumni and, you know, try to make them feel like they're still part of it because, you know, they wore the jersey before you did. So you got to respect that. And they laid the groundwork for you. And then you're the president. You got to take care of business now. We're counting on you to, you know, do this. So we talk about that a lot too. So I know we got on quotes, but you know, like.
Last question. If you could go back to, I'm going to go to 2004 or 5,
Yeah.
when you started here
Yeah.
as the girls' head coach. If you could go back to then, what would you tell yourself, and would you listen?
I would definitely listen. I think, well, yeah, I was a little hard-headed back then.
Yeah, that's what I like to get to with people.
Yeah, I was a little hard-headed. I knew it all. That's a good question. I say to myself all the time, I wish I had my knowledge right now that I didn't have then. But then I wish I had that same passion that I had back then. I was, to a certain degree, maybe dial it down a little bit. But, you know, when you're 20, what was I? I was 32 when I took the job. Yeah, because I'll be 52. You might want to. So this is year 20. So, you know, you're young 30s and you can run, you can jump around, you get excited. I mean, now as I'm getting older, I know it's like I'm kind of calm now. And they're like, "You're calm? You don't see?" I was like, "Well, maybe you didn't know me 20 years ago." I mean, we had good Lindsey Allen, who teaches here, volleyball coach. She was on my first team as a junior, and she's the all-time leading scorer at Bellbrook. I had one of the best players in the Miami Valley.
Yeah.
And so I look back and I wish, you know, did I do the best for that whole team? Like, did I know enough? If I knew more, could they have, you know, done better? But I think relationships, you know, we talk about you know, back then it was, maybe I was more consumed with the wrong stuff. And now it's more like, you know, I've been doing this a long time. Kids come and go, but it's about the relationships you have with them. And they come back and they say, my experience was awesome, or you lose some kids, you know, you can't make everybody happy. You know, there's kids probably didn't have a great experience, but, you know, that's not the goal. The goal is for them. And you get those. I've had girls write letters and stuff. Girls that went on and played soccer, you know, and came back and they say, "Coach, that state run we had, those are some of the best memories of my life. You know, you took us to North Carolina in the summer. That was so much fun." And then that's what you take from coaching to a lot of it. It's like, you know, you're doing good stuff. You know, the kids have a positive experience and they can look back on it and it made them better people, maybe better moms, better daughters. I mean, it's basketball, but at the same time, you got to feel you play a role of some sort, you know. I think that's what's cool. But I wouldn't change anything. I think you got to go through and make some mistakes and learn. And year 20, it's still fun. It's still fun. I enjoy it. It's just, I can tell. I mean, I still have. If you don't have passion, you know, you need to stop doing it. I still have passion. It's just, it was more entered that wear it on your sleeve type of passion, where now it's more, you know, more X's and O's thinking, passion, just what do we have to get done today, and plan it out and do stuff better than I did probably back then. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Jason, thank you so much for
joining us. You're welcome. Thank you.
Took that job right after I left the area. You're not aware, I was a sports writer at Xenia Gazette for a little bit, then I went up to Troy Daily News in 2004.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it was right after that season. I was on music, I want to say.
Yeah.
Was the coach. And I had a good relationship with him and covered that girls' team was pretty good back then, too.
Yeah, I actually was an assistant in his program for a year.
Okay.
Yeah, and helped him and Terry Terrell. They was coaching together, and you know, Ron didn't lose a league game.
Yeah.
When in his 4 years, he went undefeated for 4 straight years in the league. So it wasn't like I was taking over a bad situation.
Yeah.
It was good, and I was just try to carry on what he was doing. So that was the goal early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't screw it up.
We'll probably cut this part, but I was covering the playoff game. The really, really tall, I think she might have been a senior.
Yeah, that was
And it was just a brutally called game.
Jesse Morgan. It was against Hamilton Baden. I think.
Yeah.
I wasn't on that staff that year.
Okay.
I think it was a year. I went back to the boys, I think. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I heard it was bad.
I mean, I remember taking photos and and like one of the Bellbrook girls, I can't remember the names at this point, but getting like pulled back this way, driving the baseline, and remembering specifically that no foul was called on that. And it was like, oh, what is happening?
What is happening?
But anyway, so
Yeah.